Aloha everybody, this is Dave Wallace coming to you from Wahiawa, Hawaii, and it's feedback time for the Powerball, which was just drawn today, the 4th of December 2021. At the beginning of the day, the jackpot sat at 278 million for the 30-year annuity and 196.6 million for the cash value. And as you can see, we got pink numbers over here, meaning all of the numbers that were drawn today were repeating numbers. And interesting enough, there were no numbers from the last 4 games. Everything was from game number 8 on. So these were numbers that had occurred. And we're kind of getting back into the pattern of numbers that hit only once. Okay, so there are 3 numbers, 67, 40, and 56 that hit only once, and the other numbers that hit was 45 and 10. Those appeared twice in the last 20 draws. So how did we do? It did just one hit. Okay, and the hit came from the tarot, and for the numbers that the number that did hit for the tarot was number 56. Okay, and everything else was just one-offs. And as you can see, the pattern there right here showing you where the numbers came from. Now this is how I did on this particular method of going after the lottery. And the second method that I use for my personal numbers are here. And on this one, I did slightly better. In fact, there are 4 hits. The numbers that I hit were 10, 45, 56, and 67. And I used a couple of methods, and I'll talk about it when I get there. Anyway, so for number 10, this was a primary hit, and the first thing that I drew was a bowling pin, which is number 10. And the second number is pretty way off. I guess if you look at the ears here and the pointed on a football, can relate to that, but this was a miss. And 40 is actually a horse or a mule. Number 45 was a hit, and although it didn't show up in my pictures here, it did show up in a different way. I decided to look at the numbers, but it was part of the set that I created. 45 is the Mighty Mo. It's a battleship. 56 was a heart, and that was a primary hit. And that's what I'm trying to do, get as many primary hits as possible. And then 67 was in between 66 and 68, and 67 I did record it here. And number 2 was a one-off. Okay, and I had number 1 over here, and number 10 was repeated. Now this is how my number sets were. And the first number set up here is the numbers on my primary numbers that I got from my initial read. And then you got the secondary numbers here. But the way I chose the numbers was after I wrote my primary numbers here, I went through each of these numbers for the B and C, and tried to feel which ones were the correct ones. And here 10 showed up again, and for 44 and 68, that was one off. And number 1 was a one off too. Okay. And coming down here, this was another attempt to locate the hot numbers here in this group. And number 10 showed up as the Powerball. Okay. And we got 2 numbers that were off. Number D was from my tarot cards. And the tarot cards did come up with number 56, and 56 was covered also in my sketch. That's the heart. Okay. Now, if you take a look at the last one, and what I did is I tried something new this time. I took the numbers from the tarot draw, took the numbers from the pictures, and then all of the numbers from the grid, and I wrote these numbers down. And what I was looking for was any type of number patterns that were coming up. And the interesting thing about it is that as I started to look for patterns, something that kind of like jumped out. The first one, I'll show you the example here, is 35. Okay, so 35 right here, you have 33, 34, and 36. What number is missing? Oh, 35. So a lot of times when I create numbers, it's the missing number that actually hits, so in a sequence like that. So that's why I played 35. 45 was another interesting, because I got 43 and 44 and 46. What was missing? 45. So I played 45, and 45 hit. And then 67 is the same thing. I got 66, actually 65 right here, 64, 65, 66. In fact, we can go all the way back to 62, 63, 64, 65, and what number was missing? 67. So that's how I arrived at that. Okay, and 68 closes off that run. So just different way of looking at the numbers. Yeah, so 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, and 67 finished it off. There you go. All right, so I was looking for straight up different numbers to play, and luckily I chose the right one. So these are what I call gap numbers. These are numbers that fall within a gap, and I decided to play. And again, 52 is a gap number. You can see right there I have 51, and right here 51, and then 53, 54. The number missing was 52, and that's why I played 52 here. So if you have a bunch of numbers and stuff, this is another consideration that you may want to take a look at. And for this example, we hit two of these gap numbers. Okay, and I hope this was helpful in trying to point the way to try and get numbers. Okay, and as you can see, I got four hits. Okay, on the pictures. Anyway, until next week Friday, and I'll be posting again next week Friday for the Powerball. And until then, I see folks later for the Powerball players. And for on Monday, I will be posting another story, and this one is an interesting story about houses being built on vacant land across a very busy place. And I've been getting a lot of calls from homeowners concerning spirit activities, and it's a continuation actually of several calls that I've already had about a particular place here on Oahu. And so I'm going to be talking about that on Monday. Anyway, until then, this is Dave Wallace from Waiawa, Hawaii, saying aloha.